I'm here with Reggie. Reggie, it's his birthday today. Say happy birthday. I'm 10 years old. Yeah. Anyways, I'm here with the Friday Reads, and he just wants some love and affection, so I'm gonna give it to him while I do this. Yeah, it's probably gonna be my last Friday Reads of the year. Yes, I'm thinking ahead of my schedule. Yeah, so let's just hop into it. I am finally going to finish Brothers Karamazov. Finally, I have, let me do some 50 pages left in this, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish it this coming week. I just need to sit down and do it. It's so intensive. If you can't tell by all these tabs, I don't know how close I can get to the camera there and how thick it's now gotten from all my notes in it. So once I finish that, then the real work begins of compiling all the notes. I'm not regretting this. I'm not gonna regret it. And then another intensive book I'm reading is A History of God by Karen Armstrong. I'm more than halfway through now, I think. I believe there's 399 pages of actual text, and the rest of it is just notes and glossary and bibliography, further reading, all that kind of stuff. So that's where I want to be, because we're about halfway through the month. So yeah. This is talking about the evolution of God, beginning with the pagan roots of Judaism, and then into Christianity, and then into Islam, and then all three, how they kind of evolved in similar ways and in different ways. So the chapter I'm on now is the God of the Mystics. So she's talking about early mysticism in the chapters, or in the religions. And I just finished the God of the Philosophers, which is really interesting. I've heard of the Falsafas before, which is the Muslim philosophers. I don't know why I'm just opening a random page and showing you this, but it was interesting getting to know a lot more about them and a lot in depth. Like, I don't know if you can tell how tiny that writing is, and there's no breaks. There's no breaks in the pages, which I'm curious about, and also the margins are very small. So my theory is that they wanted this book to be a certain number of pages, and they had to sacrifice page breaks and stuff, because she'll be talking about, you know, one thing, and then the topic will kind of change, so it makes sense to have a page break in there. But yeah, I'm just gonna read the last thing I highlighted in here. Because there is no reality but Allah, as the Shahada maintains, all men are essentially divine. The Quran taught that God had created Adam in his own image so that he could contemplate himself as in a mirror. That is why he ordered the angels to bow down and worship the first man. The mistake of the Christians was to assume that one man had contained the whole incarnation of the divine, Sufis would argue. A mystic who had regained his original vision of God had to rediscover the divine image within himself as it had appeared on the day of creation. So it's presenting a lot of really interesting ideas, and a lot of them, again, it's a lot of tags on there, but I'm really, really thoroughly enjoying this. A book that I'm nearly almost done is Moving Pictures. So I got about 60 pages left in that, but that will go by so fast. This is about Hollywood, like what we know. It's called Hollywood in here, but Hollywood kind of leaks into Ink-Morpack. Not just Ink-Morpack, into Discworld in general. I'm just thinking because we are currently in Ink-Morpack instead of Hollywood. And they start making movies, and some mysterious stuff is going on, because of course it has to be more than just that. And this scantily clad woman gets explained in the book. I knew Terry Pratchett wouldn't just have her there for normal fantasy reasons. Yeah, and my favorite character in this so far has got to be Gaspode, who is a talking dog, who's kind of like this little mutt, fat, slimy, smelly dog. But he's like super intelligent, but no one wants to listen to him because everyone's like, dogs don't talk. Like, I'm just gonna completely ignore this noise that's coming over here. Yeah, and his friend Laddie, who is like the picture perfect dog, but all he can say is "good boy, Laddie, good boy." Their friendship is actually quite blessing. Yeah. Along similar veins of English humorous writing, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I just sat yesterday and just like blew through a huge chunk of this, and it's definitely, there's some scenes that I don't remember. And I like it. Right now they are on Magritha, which is the planet that creates planets. So yeah, so this is the first one. I'm not reading this whole thing. I'm just reading the first book. So there's 4 books in here, and I'm just reading the first one, which was like 183 pages. And I'm on page 143, so 40 pages left in that. Yes. Yeah, let's read the latest thing I tagged in there too. Why not? Oh, it's a few pages back here. Stress and nervous tensions are now serious social problems in all parts of the galaxy, and it is in order that this situation should not be in any way exacerbated that the following facts will not be revealed in advance. And then he goes on to explain what's going to happen in the next chapter, just to like alleviate readers' anxiety. I think that's pretty cool. Let's do that for this one too. I don't know, I like doing this. I like sharing what I tag. Okay, so this has the famous actors now. Like the actors are famous. They're getting out of the chariot in front of their fans, and the fans are going wild and screaming and cheering. And one of the people in the audience goes, "What's going on?" He said, "Why is everyone cheering?" "The patricians just got out of his carriage," so the guy who's making the movies, said the chair. "Don't see what's so wonderful about that," said Poons. "I've got out of carriages hundreds of times. There's no trick to it." And I just thought that was funny and interesting observation, that we cheer on people for doing ordinary things sometimes, just because of who they are. Then I'm also reading Gathering of Waters. I'm reading a lot. I've been wanting just to sit and read and do nothing else. Gathering of Waters by Bernice on McFadden, and I have to be careful picking up this book, because every time I pick it up, time just disappears because I just get sucked into reading this, and it is amazing. I love this book. There's 252 pages, and I am on page probably 152. Deckled edges. I hate deckled edges. That's the only bad thing about this book, is the deckled edges. So 100 pages left, but as I said, I could finish that in a night. This says it's about Emmett Till, but he gets murdered in 1955, and then we get 40 years after that, but we're still in the 1920s here. So I'm a little confused about where that section's supposed to come, because I'm 150 pages in to the book. There's 100 pages left, and we haven't been introduced to these characters yet. I think Tass Hilson, the one that's mentioned here, may be about to be born. But who knows? Anyways, this is about Money, Mississippi, and the black families in that town specifically, and about a few different people there, but mostly about August and Doll Hilson. And Doll is possessed by the spirit of a whore who was beaten so much that she became evil. And August is the preacher. Yeah, so it's an interesting relationship. And I'll just read the last tag here. Hemingway had listened and yawned as Cole droned on and on about their customs, traditions, and the brutality they suffered under the white... Oh, okay. Let me read more than that, because you're not going to understand. Cole was gone for 2.5 months. When he returned, he was freckled, brown as lightly toasted bread, and filled with stories of Indians. Hemingway had listened and yawned as Cole droned on and on about their customs, traditions, and the brutality they suffered under the white man's occupancy. Yeah, well, Hemingway reminded him on various occasions, black folk still suffering. Sorry, I speak too fast sometimes. Yeah, so Cole is a white man, and Hemingway, it's a complicated relationship, but she's working for him, I guess is the basic way to put it that. But she doesn't hold back in criticizing him. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. And the last thing I'm maybe reading, I'm enjoying it, but there's no plot. So it's kind of like I'm not drawn to pick it up. And I got to a part right now where it just drones on for over 100 pages. And I think it's like almost 200 pages. Like, it's daunting. And I think I may have to put this aside and pick it up at another time because I'm just not drawn to it. But maybe if I finish all of these, this will be the other book I pick up. I'll see how it goes. Last thing I tagged in here. Let's see. Here we go. This yellow tab here. Okay, I thought this was interesting. I do remember he sometimes referred to the so-called younger generation, meaning mine, as this thing America hath wrought. That's not a very good example. It's almost like he thought the blame went both ways, that there was something wrong with the whole country's adults if they could produce kids like this in the 1970s. So I thought that was interesting, like acknowledging that the previous generation's blame, or previous generation has to share the blame of how this generation has turned out, right? Like, they're the ones raising the kids, and that's how they're turning out, so it's not just the kids' fault, it's how they're being raised as well, right? Yeah, so that's it. I know I've droned on for a long time, so I'll leave it there. Let me know what you're reading this weekend and for the rest of 2020, and thank you for watching.